Good evening. On behalf of Operation Rock, I am Clayton here with a great broadcast tonight. We deal with issues with the Staten Island DA's office, the corruption, the misconduct, the fact that they are prone to arrest and maliciously prosecute innocent minority men. I myself, being an innocent minority man, was falsely prosecuted by the Staten Island District Attorney's Office. I was maliciously prosecuted, I was slandered, I was defamed, and, and ultimately what happened to me is I spent about a year of my life fighting off these accusations. But tonight is not about me. Fortunately for me, my time incarcerated wasn't that long, but everybody is not as fortunate as me. My guest tonight spent about a year in jail fighting false robbery charges for something that he was completely acquitted of. Tonight you're going to hear the story of a young man. His name is Mr Abarham, who was maliciously prosecuted after detectives out of Staten Island decided to set him up for something that he never did. But instead of me telling this story, I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to introduce him. I'm going to allow him to tell the story of what happened to him because I believe that by coming together as a community and more of us speaking out about the injustice that goes on in communities like Staten Island, this is the only way we can truly effectuate change. Because Staten Island is corrupt. Staten Island has a history of prosecuting innocent minority men, and it's unquestionable. If you search out case law, if you read the news, and you search throughout the five boroughs, Staten Island has the largest history of prosecuting innocent minorities that out of any borough in New York City. People are sent to jail for 15, 20 years. They're arrested, they're prosecuted, and if you're lucky enough, maybe, just maybe, they might try to give you an adjudicated dismissal, but they will never grant you the justice they deserve. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce this brother right now.
Hey, how
Vic,
you doing, Mr. Howard?
what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. Find these people.
Okay.
Um, right now, like you said, I was maliciously prosecuted. I was wrongfully arrested. I was forced through a jury trial, even though I got the outcome I wanted, like a favorable outcome. I was still denied a fair trial. It could have went either way.
Hmm.
To be honest. They could have believed the cops' testimony because I, for one, never testified
Hold
because,
on. Let's start off this way.
yeah,
Your name is Victor Abraham.
yes.
Um, why don't you tell them initially what happened with your story? You were arrested for a false robbery, correct?
Yes, at first it wasn't a robbery. At first, this happened to me October 17th, 2016.
Okay.
It was like 8 o'clock and I was walking towards my car, and usually in the back of my building, people gather there. This is Park Hill. I lived in Park Hill at the time. Like I was
So
living
this
in
was the
55.
120.
Yes, this was like, I believe this is the 120 jurisdiction or whatever they like to say. So as I proceeded my car, I was surrounded by what looked like undercovers and detectives and stuff like that. They was asking me, "Oh, is this your car?" I'm like, "Yes." Well, I was like, "No, my mom rented it for me, but it's a rental. It's not my personal car or anything like that." Then they asked me for my name. I was like, "My name is Victor Abraham." And from there, they proceeded to lock me up. They was like, "Oh, we have what they said at the time was an I card. We got an I card for your arrest. Or we just want to ask you some questions. You'll be out. You know, it's not nothing serious. We just want to ask you some questions." So boom, they locked me up and took me down to the precinct. Now, when I got to the precinct, they were showing me, before they read me my rights or anything like that, they showed me a video of what did appear to be my mother's car going through the drive-through McDonald's on Forest Avenue. So I was like, "Oh," they was like, "Oh, do you know who this is?" I was like, "I don't know. It looks like my mom's car. That looked like probably one of my friends driving it or whatever." They was like, "Well, during the time this car is going through, a person, credit card is being used or whatever, a stolen credit card or whatever." I'm like, "Well, I don't know nothing about that." And in fact, a lot of people come in and out my house. I'm 19. I got a lot of friends, so somebody probably took my car while I was sleeping, went to McDonald's without my knowledge, and brought it back before I could even realize it was gone. So they told me from there, they was like, oh, well, this, that, and the third, you was picked out. Somebody said you robbed them or whatever. I was like, well, I don't know anything about that. In fact, you guys seem like you're accusing me of something that I had no idea about. So let me get a lawyer. So
Mm,
from there, they ended the interview or whatever and put me downstairs now. They put me downstairs the next morning, which is the 18th.
mm.
They brought me back upstairs, put me in the lineup. I didn't see a lawyer. I didn't see nothing there. Nobody, mind you, I asked for a lawyer. So to my understanding now, when somebody asks for a lawyer, you're not really supposed to put them turn around and put them in another lineup. So that's in my situation that was done to me. I was put in a lineup with kids that I knew, like from around the neighborhood. They was like, "Oh, Victor, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I don't even know." And then I was like, "What are you guys doing here?" They was like, "Oh, well, they paid us $20 or whatever to come stay in this lineup." I'm like,
So
"Oh,
pause,
that."
pause. So basically, what happened to you is that you was going to your car. They run down on you.
Yes.
Probably the Warren Squad, because that had to be the Warren Squad. That's what it sounded like it was.
No, it
That's
wasn't. It wasn't a Warren squad. It was just regular. From what I know now, they from Staten Island robbery squad. So it's not even like I had a warrant or anything like that for my arrest. It was just regular people that they investigate robberies and stuff like that as a special unit. Like you see how some jurisdiction they got Scorpion unit, like these elite units
yeah.
that I guess they do whatever they want. They break the law. Nobody holds them accountable. This is Staten Island versions of that unit.
Okay, so because that's what they do. They got those I cards, and that's how they effectuate arrest when they really don't have probable cause to get a warrant for you for a judge. Basically,
Yeah.
what an I card is all they have to go to the sergeant. Tell the sergeant, yo, I want to bring this guy in for questioning. The sergeant signed the I card. Now every cop in the city is looking for you based off that I card. So they got
Right.
an I card for you, ran down on you in the hill, brought you in for questioning, allegedly to see if you did the robbery. But what they really wanted to do was charge you. So they violated your right, questioning you without an attorney. And then when you asked them for an attorney, what they did was bring you back downstairs to a lineup they set up by paying people to be in the lineup with you there.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about that whole thing was I noticed every time they left the room, like it would be hot as hell. Like they had me handcuffed to the radiator, and then every time they came in the room, they lowered the temperature. So it's like they was playing psychotic mind with me.
Yeah.
And then they gave me food, I ate something, and then they went beyond my back and ran a DNA beyond my back. And then all those things, they never even turned it over to my attorney. Because at the time I was 19. I ain't know anything about the law as much as I do now. And these people, they ain't turned none of this information. I'm skipping a lot right now, but
You don't have to.
the
You can pretty much tell your story, baby, because people listening, trust me, this is how you get the message out. You talk about what they do, because what they try to do is silence you so you don't tell how they screwed you over. Tell it.
Yeah, so basically the first victim from the reason why I was arrested apparently for the October 17th, this robbery had occurred October 9th. So October 9th, this guy is a 33-year-old. He's living in a halfway house. Not saying, people that's, going down in their life or whatever the case might be deserve to be robbed and shit. Pardon my language, deserve to be robbed. But I didn't rob him. So he doing the when he got robbed, he the call he made to 911, he said all two male blacks robbed him.
Mm.
And during the robbery, one of the individuals lifted his hoodie up and showed what appeared to be a gun. So right then and there, the detectives was dispatched. My arresting officer was dispatched. His name is Stephen Lutz, and he's a detective third grade. So that goes to show you he's been on the force for a while. He's very experienced. So there shouldn't be no excuses on proper procedures and things like that. So October 9th, he responded to the scene. He took down the statements of the victim and he began his investigation. Now, somewhere around October 10th, because during that night he was like, oh, he's too scared, he can't remember anything, stuff like that. He can't remember any faces. So they didn't do a photo lineup that day. The next day, they brought him down to the precinct. He took a look at 212 pictures. He couldn't identify anybody. October 12th, they brought him down again, looked at a bunch of pictures. He couldn't identify anybody. October 13th, he's riding I believe, the S-44 bus. And he's like, oh, he sees another young African person on the bus, and he says, "Oh, this guy looks like the guy that robbed me." If, for example, if there had been cops on the bus that day, like they usually are sometimes, that kid would have gotten arrested for robbing that person.
Yeah.
But instead, there was no cops there, so he proceeded to call Stephen Lutz, my arresting officer. Stephen Lutz tells him, "Oh, take a picture of this person and send it to my phone. Let me see who it is. Let me, try to track down." So he takes the picture and sends it to Stephen Lutz. Stephen Lutz looks at that person picture and said, "Oh, this is Victor Abraham. Appears to be Victor Abraham." Now, the reason why he said that was basically because him and his partner was investigating a bunch of other robberies that was going on Staten Island, and they suspected me as a person who was committing those robberies as well. But mind you, I was never charged with anything else besides these two robberies. And I'm gonna get to the second one in a little bit. But they suspected me. They went in the thing, pulled up my name. Mind you, me and my mom had gotten into like a domestic dispute one day on the street. That's how they arrested me from that incident, and then that's how my picture ended up in the system. So, but my mom didn't press charges. It was the state picked it up. Basically, my mom's like, "Oh, it was just we was just arguing. It got out of hand or whatever." So she didn't even call the cops. Somebody else did. So she was like, she don't want to press charges. So the case went nowhere. I didn't even get sentenced, nothing for it. But my picture was still in there. So they went in the system, got my picture from there. He said he looked at that picture and looked at the bus picture, and it said it appears to be the same man. It appears to be Victor Abraham. And henceforth, he created a new photo array with my picture in it. But the picture was unduly suggestive because I was the only one wearing a white shirt. And mind you, you can see me now, I'm a lighter complexion. The other fillers within the photo array was dark skinned teenagers. So even if the fact that my shirt was white, just my skin tone alone made me stand out. And with what I know now, people of different races, they interpret things differently. Like, how sometimes we'll be biased and say, "Oh, all Chinese people look alike," or black people look alike. To this guy, he thought I was the guy on the bus. So he
So
was like,
pause.
"Oh, I was the one who robbed him."
So pause. The alleged victim. What nationality was he?
He's white.
Oh, okay. So basically, they set you up by bringing a bunch of dark skinned dudes in because he named somebody light skinned to do it, and then they put you as the only light skinned male in the lineup with a white T-shirt to kind of fit the description he gave to the
Yeah,
cops.
to highlight me to him, because I mean, if you look at the bus picture, I mean, we got similar characteristics, me and this person, but he's dark skinned. And from the victim's original statement, he was robbed by two male blacks. He didn't say, "Oh yeah, it was a light skinned person there," or a lighter complexion. No, he said two male blacks, meaning whoever he seen on that bus definitely was the person, or looked like the person that robbed him. But for him to say I resemble that, and but I was picked from that photo array that Lutz created. Now, when we got to trial, he tried to make it seem like the picture was of no value. He said he destroyed the picture. The courts asked him under oath, "Where's the picture?" "Oh, I can't find it." Now, just for me to start my lawsuit, and that's one of the first thing the state hands me in my discovery, the bus picture, and long behold, it's not me. So why in Lutz's original statements, he's like, "Oh, it's Victor Abraham," and then at trial, he's like, "Oh yeah, the picture was irrelevant. I destroyed the picture." And then even it goes so deep that when you look in his case file, the picture is right there for everybody to see. It's right in his case file. But because he knew it was something that was exculpatory to me, that was actually showing my innocence, he made sure the jury in my trial never seen that picture.
So he had a
So
picture that
because,
kind of he had a picture
huh?
that exonerated you. So he withheld it so the jury wouldn't know, trying to get you convicted.
Yes, he withheld it, and it even goes deeper than that because because of this, because he connected me to this robbery, he was then able to call the feds and open a case against me. That's basically
Whoa.
what it did, and it,
Pause, pause. So hold on. They even went as far to call the federal government to try to put federal robbery charges on you.
yes, federal.
Oh,
They
this
went
is
as far
dirtbag.
to put federal robbery charges on me, and it's so messed up because they even ran my phone location. They seen that, they went to T-Mobile, got my phone calls and things like that, and seen that the robbery that they was charging me with, I was nowhere near there. Like, I don't remember exactly what I was doing on October 9th when this person was being robbed. Like, cause it was a long time ago, and
Yeah, you
even
living your
at
life.
that moment, yeah, I didn't remember. Like, I'm a teenager. I'm doing mad different stuff. Like, I don't know exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So they was like, they tracked my phone and they saw I wasn't there. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's something to turn over to my lawyers. It was never turned over. So yeah, I couldn't even give an alibi because even if I say I would have said, oh yeah, I was at my house, they could have said, oh, that's not a good enough alibi. Nothing I would have said would have been good enough to clear these charges from on me. So that's why I just decided not to say anything. I said, oh, I did not do this, but I couldn't be like, oh yeah, I remember exactly where I was. So they used that against me. They was like, oh well, he didn't turn over an alibi, he didn't do this. But that bus picture and my phone location, those were things that was supporting my statement of I was innocent.
Yeah.
So they completely failed to turn that over. So from October 17th to October 27th, I was on Rikers Island. I bailed out. I bailed out. Mind you, I never been there before. 19, never been there. You hear gruesome stories,
Yeah,
but
that's
until
when you're
you get
young. That
there,
shit's hurt.
that's when it's really, yeah, that's when it's really crazy. So when we got there, that's just a story. Just that 2 weeks alone is just a story of its own. Like, but to make a long story short, I bailed out October 27th. When I bailed out, I didn't even know how to get back to Staten Island because I'd never been to Queens, right? I've never been there before. So
It sounds
somebody
good.
was getting bailed out around the same time as me, and I was like, "Oh, bro, I'm going back to Staten Island. I don't know how to get there. Can you help me?" I put him on the phone with my mom. They spoke. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna bring Victor back to the apartment, and then you could just come to the place in the morning." Because at the time she was working home health aide on Staten Island. So, but we lived in Jersey, so she used to come from Jersey to go work on Staten Island, and I had my own apartment in Park Hill. So when I got to my apartment, the kid spent the night in the morning and left. That before when he left, it was still dark out. The morning Warren Squad raided me. That's when Warren Squad raided me. Now the morning of the 27th, they
Whoa,
raided
so
me.
you bailed out on the robbery, and then the Warren squad circled back around and ran down on you on the 22nd.
Yeah, on the 27th, yeah, on the 20, they ran down. And they so funny because they knocked on my door first, right? I was like, oh, I just came from Rikers Island. I don't even know why you guys is at my door. I just bailed out. Look, I even slid my ID underneath the door. They slid it back to me. I was like, unless you guys have a warrant for my arrest, I'm not opening this door. So they left momentarily and went downstairs to my super, and I guess they finagled my super to let them in my house. So I'm thinking I'm good. I'm thinking they left. All of a sudden, here comes my super opening my door and land Warren Squad in. At that point, they put me at gunpoint. They started searching my house. They handcuffed me. They was like, oh, I don't even know what they was looking for. They were just searching around my apartment, flipping things. I had a hole in my apartment at the time, and they shoved their hand in there searching for God knows what. So while in the middle of them doing that, remember I told you my mom was gonna come in the morning to come see me. So
Yeah,
in the middle of them searching my apartment and got me handcuffed, holding me at gunpoint or whatever, my mom walks through the door.
yeah.
She's like, "What are y'all doing in my son's house?" Like blacking on them. They're like, "Oh, we have a warrant. We have a warrant." They show her the warrant. The warrant is not even for me. It's for somebody else that used to live there.
Wow. So wait, they came, got the super to open the apartment, even though the warrant that they had wasn't for you.
Yes, it wasn't for me. It just said the address on it, but the super himself didn't even ask to see the warrant. So
Yeah.
it's like they made it seem like, oh, the warrant was for me. Go and sit down. They made it seem like the warrant was for me. So after that, my mom came in, they left or whatever. She talked to me. She was like, "Oh, because at the time, she bailed me out. I used to have a lot of friends over, so she was like, "Look at what you're going through right now. Don't let a lot of people in your house. Know what I mean? Try to relax. Let's try to understand what's really happening." So later on that night, I ended up having what I now know is a manic episode, like from schizophrenia. I've never experienced this before. I guess from all the medication they was giving me during that time on Rikers Island
They do
initially.
try to do that. That's what they do. They try to med you out. You're right.
Yeah. So when I came home, they didn't give me nothing. It was like basically me letting me out dry turkey. So you know how people be coming home and then they do some bugged out shit and then end up right back in jail. So
Yeah,
that's how I feel like that was their goal, and them just releasing me like that, knowing they had been giving me heavy psychotics while I was in there. So, but everything was good. I made it home. That whole warrant thing happened. Boom. The later that night, I started bugging out. I was tweaking, like I was tearing up my apartment, going crazy. When the hallway started carving weird things in the wall, my neighbor ended up calling my mother because he was my friend too. We all stayed on the same floor. So he ended up calling my mother, and she ended up rushing over there and calling the ambulance and stuff like that. They took me to Rumsey. Now, when I got to Rumsey, I'm in a psychotic episode. I'm not knowing what I'm doing. I'm not knowing what I'm saying. I'm not in control. So
yeah,
10 people surrounded me, and then they injected me with what I now know is Thorazine, a drug I had never taken before.
yeah,
When I tell you this drug had me like a zombie in the psych unit for 3 days, like a zombie. I couldn't eat. My mom came to see me. I couldn't open my eyes. Nothing. For 3 days, I was like that till the 31st. The 31st, they weaned me off whatever drug they was giving me, the Thorazine, whatever else they was giving me while I was unconscious. They weaned me up. They was like, "Oh, we feel you a good candidate for outpatient. We're gonna release you and stuff like that. You could call your mom, tell her to come pick you up because the medication might still be wearing off and stuff like that. We don't want you getting hit by a car." So boom, my mom was in Jersey. I called her again. "Oh mom, they're discharging me. Can you come get me from Rumsey?" At the time, the psych unit is on the third floor of Rumsey. If you ever Anybody who's been through the psych unit know that it's on the third floor. So boom, as I leave the psych unit, NYPD locked me up again right there in front of the door.
in front of
Like
Rumsey.
literally, yes. Not even I don't even take the elevator to go downstairs. I'm on the third floor. They right there outside of the side door. So
Yeah,
I'm thinking I'm going home. I just came from this hellish ordeal. I don't even know what's happening to me right now. All I know is I'm waking up, I'm getting released, and then just to be handcuffed again and taken down to 120. They like, "Oh, the night you was robbed. I mean, the night you bailed out. Oh, you robbed somebody. The night you bailed out." Wait, no, they didn't even tell me my charges. They didn't tell me my charges. They just said I was under arrest. They just arrested me in front of the psych unit. So when I got down, I was asking questions. Nobody could really tell me nothing. And then eventually, I was taken in front of the judge. And then I think that's when I learned of my charges. They was like, "Oh, the night he bailed out, Your Honor, he robbed somebody again. This time it was three people. It was three people who robbed this one person." And he was like, "I was the one who robbed them." I'm like, how did I do this? This is news to me.
yeah,
Come to find out what these officers did, October 27th, as I'm being bailed out, this kid is being robbed. So after the robbery, the sergeant, this is a sergeant now. This kid worked at the Ninos. So this happened like around both of the robberies happened in the Fort Richmond area. Let me just clarify that. So this is like the 121 jurisdiction.
yeah,
So the sergeant responds to it went over the radio as an assault. Like all three people assaulted him and stuff like that. But when the sergeant got there, he's like, "Oh, it sounds more like a robbery. It sounds more like a strong arm robbery." And then he ends up taking out a single picture of me. Like now, from what I know, he had a single picture because they was like, "Oh, I was a suspect in the robbery." Because from that first false arrest, they added me now to what I now know is a pattern. They added me to a pattern because of that first false arrest they charged me with. So now every officer on Staten Island now is walking around with a single picture of me. Now when anybody get robbed, anybody get assaulted, I'm the first person they showing. So now they show this kid, this he's 16 at the time, he was sick. He went to the store to get Tylenol, and that's when this happened to him on his lunch break. So they show him the single picture of me, and he's like, "Oh, it looks like him, but I'm not. I don't think that's him. That's not. It don't look like him that robbed me." That wasn't good enough for the officer. He didn't document that anywhere. He didn't save that anywhere. The 28th, the detective pick him up. Mind you, this is when I've been Rumsey going through the psychotic episode and stuff. A detective, her name is Jennifer Hamilton. She picks him up, does a canvas. They don't find anybody that match his description or whatever that he gave at the time. She documented all negative results. The next day now she picks him up again, puts him in front of photo manager system, and like shows them a book of like mad different, crimes, people who's been convicted and stuff like that. Their mugshots. She showed him a whole book of that. He don't identify anybody. Then she turns around and puts him in front of this photo manager system where she's like, oh, I gave a description of 5'10", 5'11", 5'12", different heights, male, black, Hispanic, you know, I guess because for my complexion, because these officers knew who I was. They already framed me for the first one. So now they trying to go back to clean up, to try to make it look like I'm a predicate. Like, oh, this is what I do. Look at the story. Like, oh, I bailed out and then I go rob somebody again. Then, the judge is not going to be on my side. So that was what they was going for. So then all of a sudden now, she put all these weird um coordinates into the photo manager, and it spits out 450 pictures. Right? Out of 450 pictures, I'm the only person who pictures showed up twice. And mind you, this is identical pictures. Meaning the picture, the mugshot they took of me when they arrested me for the first false arrest. That picture shows up twice in the photo manager as 10 and 11. And from there, that's when they said the kid said I was the one who robbed them.
So they suggestively put it out there by injecting it into the photo array multiple times so he would be familiar with it.
Yeah, so he would be from, because they already showed him a single picture of me and they didn't get the desired response. They didn't get, oh yeah, definitely it was him who did it. Oh, it was him who did it. It was definitely him who did it. They didn't get that. So now the next day, that's what they proceeded to do. Put my picture twice in the photo manager, and then they said they picked me out from there. So because of that, I was arrested, and then on the 31st, I showed up in court and they set my bill. They didn't even give me a bill. That's how wicked these people are, right? They didn't even give me a bill. They was like, "Oh, Your Honor, um, you just gave them bail. For the first false arrest, they was trying to give me like 100,000 bill, but because I had no criminal record or anything like that, the judge was like, no, Mr. Abraham, I haven't seen Mr. Abraham many times in my court before and stuff like that. I'm gonna set his bail at 10,000. Boom. That's how come I was able to bail out the first time. But this time around, when I went back in front of the judge, oh, I just gave you bail and this is what you remanded. So I was remanded to Rikers Island. Mind you, just came out the psych unit. I was still messed up off the drugs, still not myself. And I was remanded there. That led me to 12 months of being held against my will, fighting this case. It wasn't until September of 2017 was when I was able to get a private lawyer. They was able to talk, do what they needed to do, and I was able to bail out. And from there, I had lost my apartment in Park Hill. I had lost everything, and it was just a nightmare. Imagine having to go to court facing 25 years for a crime you did not commit, coming off the streets every day, knowing your life is being toyed with like this. This is what I had to do. And so while my classmates was graduating, going to prom and doing all these things, I was fighting for my life. And till this day, I'm still fighting for my life. I'm still trying to make this right. Because even though I was acquitted, people like to say, oh, they just couldn't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt. They just couldn't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But if you had been there that day in court during my trial, you would have seen the frame. You would have seen it was no, even if they could have put the most racist people, the people that hated black people, to the core on that jury, they would have said, nah, we can't do this. This is an injustice that has occurred. We can't find him guilty. No way. So that was what happened. But nowadays, people like to say, "Oh yeah, they just couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. It holds no weight. You're still not innocent. You're not exonerated." And I hear it because it's like even when you go on my criminal record, my rap sheet right now, these charges are still there. These things are still showing up on my record. And I don't know how I can even begin to take it off my record because
Yeah,
I've spoken to multiple lawyers and they told me, "Oh, there's no such thing as like extinguishing your rap sheet
expungement.
or whatever."
It's called
Yeah,
an expungement.
expungement,
Yup.
expungement. There's no such thing as expungement in New York.
New
And
York
this is
doesn't do it. New York is probably one of the few states that won't expunge a crime that you've been arrested for if you've been completely acquitted of it. We're going through the same thing, brother.
Yes. So this has been my life, and now I'm in federal court. These people is playing with me. I've been in this country now since 2006. I've been paying taxes since 2006. Even now, I've been done this great harm, and I'm still being forced to pay taxes. I can't go to the store without paying taxes, and here are people that are benefiting off my taxes. They're living comfortable than me right now. Meanwhile, my whole life has been flipped upside down, like upside down. Even as I speak to you right now, I'm talking to you from a homeless shelter. This happened to me when I was 19. I'm 27 now. You look on these officers' rap sheet, nothing.
Yeah.
One was allowed to retire with his full pension. The other two is still on the force. Only God one knows how many people is still staying up north because of what they did to me. If they was comfortable enough to do this to me, they've been doing this for a while. This is a pattern.
Yeah, Staten
And
Island got a
even the
pattern for setting people up.
Yeah, this is a pattern, and in fact, the prosecutor that was on my case, his name is Michael Tanusis. He's now a New York State Assemblyman, claiming he care about people's rights, claiming he care about our rights. He served the community, he serves his constituents. But when it was me, he was trying to give me 25 years. Everything we've discussed here, he knew about, and he
Yeah.
still persuaded the judge to force a case against me because he could have easily dismissed the case. Your Honor, it's clear what's been done here has been a great injustice. Because they even conceded. They even conceded that the sergeant showing the victim a single picture of me was completely unduly suggestive.
Yeah.
Unless if you look in the Supreme Court law, it says unless there's extreme circumstances where you can't put a photo array together, you are not supposed to show a victim of a crime a single picture unless it's like, oh, you know me, I'm your brother, and the cops come, you say, oh yeah, my brother come, and then and then they show you a picture, oh, is this your brother? That's the only time they're supposed to do that.
In law
But
enforcement, it's called like suggestive implication. Basically, they put it out there before somebody, knowing the person probably going through trauma, trying to lead them to pick you.
yes, try to lead them to pick me, and that's exactly what happened. Because even after the double showing, they know it wasn't gonna stand. So this is what they did now. This is what Michael Tanusis, Michael McMahon, this is what RCDA did. They went and subpoenaed me from on Rikers Island. This is, I believe, May 1st, May 4th. So like 3 days on my birthday. I don't even want to talk about what happened on my birthday. And I was going through a whole bunch. I was still incarcerated. I turned 20 in jail. So it's like May 1st, I'm jumped, I'm beat up, assaulted by COs and everything else. May 4th, I'm being dragged to the Richmond County District Attorney Office to then again be stood in a lineup. They did another lineup. So the October 27th lineups that they did, they knew it was problematic. So now for them to clean up their act and say, oh, look, we did a lineup 7 months later, 4 months later, and he still got picked. So this definitely shows he did it now. Because if you look at the lineup video, the kid came 5 seconds. Oh, it's Victor Abraham. Oh, number 5. That's the position I was in. But even that was unduly suggestive because once again, I was the only one wearing a white shirt. They dressed me up. They made sure I didn't have no prison clothes, but they made me look different from everybody else. You could clearly see I had just been coming from Rikers Island. You could clearly see anybody would have said, "Oh yeah, him," because everybody else looked like students. Everybody looked like, oh, they was just free. I look like I'm a enslaved human being.
Yeah.
So
So how
then
was
and
Michael
there,
McMahon involved?
huh?
How was McMahon involved? Michael McMahon.
Michael McMahon, well, he's involved because you can't look at any of my documents and don't find his signature. So it's like
Oh,
everything that was going down, he
he
was
knew it.
approving it. He was approving it. He knew exactly what was going on. And they was in correspondence back and forth with the feds. This was a big thing. All these robberies that was going on Staten Island, it was on the news. So it went as far as even the police commissioner announcing my first forced arrest. If you look back on Spectrum One. I think his name was Robert Boyce at the time. He
Yeah.
announced the forced arrest on national TV. He was like, "Oh, we arrested Victor Abraham and all these things," So just trying to incriminate me in the eye of the public before I even have my day in court. You could see the article from Staten Island events where they was predicting I was gonna get 25 years. They ain't do
Bas-
no proper investigation, nothing.
Basically, they just tried to make you guilty before you ever had the chance to prove your innocence.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
That's
what they do.
exactly what was done to me. And even these articles you find now where they talk about the cops, you notice they leave Michael McMahon out, they leave Michael Tanusis out, because
Yeah.
they are pushing them politically. They trying to have these people ruling over us, protecting bad cops, because these people at the end of the day, these people don't represent us. They represent the PBA.
Yeah.
That's the police union. These people don't serve us. They don't serve the public. They serve a one union, and that is the police union.
They
So at
serve
the end of the day, they're
themselves.
gonna
They
protect these
serve
bad
themselves.
cops,
They
huh?
serve themselves. They don't even serve the
Yes,
police. They serve themselves. McMahon
themselves.
ain't a cop. McMahon is a prosecutor. So what he does is protect the integrity of his office. He falsely arrested you. He had to stick with that false arrest. So all he do now is try to make sure you get convicted. Everything he do, if he has something to prove you didn't do it, he gonna throw that shit to the side. What he's gonna do is continue
Exactly.
to push your prosecution so they don't have to drop it. And then Staten Island's prosecutional record don't take a hit by the fact that they falsely arrested and falsely prosecuted innocent people.
Right. And this is a shame because they act like they care about people so much. They act like they push this narrative, oh, we care about, everybody, we treat everybody equal. But then it's like hypocrisy because in my situation, in your situation, countless other people on Staten Island, how can we allow these people to try to cast judgment on us and they criminals themselves? They criminals. We
They
wasn't
worse than you.
convicted of anything. We not
Yeah,
even criminals. We law-abiding citizens, and we got criminals ruling over us,
yeah.
forcibly imprisoning us. No, it can't stand. It just can't stand, and that's why I'm speaking out on the situation. I'm gonna speak on it to my last breath because this is I'm a father of two now,
It's your
and I
life,
don't want
bro.
this to be, huh?
It's your life, bro. That's your
Yes,
life.
this exactly. This is for real, and as it is an embarrassing thing. People think I like the attention. I don't like this attention. I could have been living my life right now. I could have been flying planes. I could have been a pilot. I could have been. You look me up right now. You could have seen. Oh, first African immigrant or whatever they like to call me. Oh, flying these hours, earning these medals, doing what he got to do. Instead, you look me up, you associated with robbery. Oh, this thing, this other thing is happening. Like, come on, this is one life. You don't. It's no redo. It's no. Oh, tomorrow I wake up, I reset. Everybody forget that this happened. No,
And people, and then they don't even want you to talk about it because the truth is, the more you talk about what they did, the more it make them look bad. So what they try to make you do, it seem like you being vindictive. But the point is, you got the right to talk about something where they held you for a year and violated your civil rights. You was a victim, but they don't care about the fact you was a victim. They care about themselves. So they try to silence you. They try to shut you up. They try to make you look like you the offender when you really wasn't.
exactly, and it's very sad because you see these people, you see these white supremacists. They hate black people for any reason. You giving they oh I hate black people. I want them to leave this country. What have we done to y'all? We have done nothing to y'all. We was enslaved in this country. We was forced to build this country from the ground up, and now our payment is being forcibly imprisoned. Our payment is our kids being shot in the street. Our payment is our brothers and sisters being forcibly imprisoned decades stolen from their life. I've seen people going as young as me, come home, no hair on their head, no family, no relatives left alive, and people say, "Oh yeah, that's just how it is." No, I refuse that. I refuse that statement of "that's just how it is." Everybody go through it. No, I refuse it. This is supposed to be the land of the free. This is supposed to be a free country. Everybody's supposed to have equal justice, equal everything. But instead, it's like because they have a badge and a gun and they went to this school and they graduated and they have no unfortunate thing happen to them that they able to succeed. They like, oh yeah, they feel like they at a higher class than us. No, I'm right now. If this never happened to me, I could have seen myself completing college. I could have seen myself at this stage of my life. I'm 27 now. I could have been doing different things. I could have been on to different things, but God put me on this path, and this is the path I'm on now. I don't see me doing anything else but speaking truth to what happened in this situation and so many others. So many others. It's not just me. It's not just you. There's people saying in prison right now and just waiting for the day. Me, I couldn't do it. I couldn't let them take 20 years of my life. Even the 1 year I spent in prison, I wanted to escape. Every single day, I wanted to escape. Every single day. So for these people, and I'm like, how can you even do it? You know you did 20, you in there and you know you did nothing wrong. They would have had to drag me out in a body bag. I was not staying in there for 20 years knowing I did not do this crime. I was not. And they seen what I was saying was true. And the torment alone. They there was even a point in time where they was trying to say, oh, I might not even be fit for trial. Because they said, oh, they were subjecting me to so much torture to the point where I was in mental observation. I was messed up. It was like, oh, we need to order a 7:30 psych evaluation for him, and forgetting that of the condition they had put me in. This is the condition. And now they was even trying to deny me a trial to say, oh, don't pay attention to what he's saying. He's crazy. He's psychotic. But when I went down there, I said, look at the situation I'm in. What type of normal human being would be able to exist in this in this structure, being buried alive, being accused of something you didn't do? But I
And
want
you
y'all to
was young.
clear me. I want
And you
y'all to
was
clear me.
young. You was young,
Huh?
yo. And you
Yes.
was young, yo. Like you ain't had that experience.
Yeah, I told him to clear me. I said I want to go to trial. I want to prove my innocence because at the end of the day, I simply did not do this. I want y'all to clear me for trial, regardless of any sickness you might think I have now. I want you to clear me to trial so these people don't try to discredit what I'm saying. These people don't try to say, oh, look, oh, he's psychotic, he's this and that, because it's not my fault. God put me on this earth. I was perfect. Before I went to Rikers Island, I was perfect. Nowadays, that's all I think about. I close my eyes, I'm in Rikers Island. I wake up, I'm in Rikers Island. It's crazy. It's crazy what's been done to me. And I don't want anybody else to experience this, except for those that rightfully belong there. Those people in the Richmond County District Attorney Office, these officers that just sat there and violated my rights and didn't care if I lived or died, endangered my life. They need to be held accountable, not paid 6, 7 figures to violate my rights.
And that's the problem. They don't want to hold the detectives accountable. You know, because like what happened to me, listening to your story, what happened to me is like you went through it. You know what I'm saying? I just went with a crazy ex who got convicted in New Jersey, came across the bridge, lied and said what happened in New Jersey happened in Staten Island, and they arrested me for a couple of days. But you spent a year locked in Rikers Island, and that shit is filthy. So I know you went through it. I know you went
Yeah.
through it. I feel bad for that. You know what I'm saying? But it
And
wakes you up to the
they
fact.
try to discredit it. Oh, what makes you so special? You know what makes you so special? There's people who we took 20 years from their life and they only got 7 million. I said that's what they want to take for their pain. If they
Yeah,
feel 7 million is worth 20 years of their freaking life, that's
that's
up
their
to them.
decision. That's their decision. You're right.
Exactly. You can't hold me to that standard because you didn't do that to me. I wasn't letting you do that to me. So now for you to say, oh, I'm only entitled to this much because you only took a year out of my life. So, oh, I'm not, bro, you got it all wrong. And then you saying those people was convicted, that means the jury, you was able to prove your case. You was able to get the jury to believe that that person actually did it. So in my situation, the jury did not fall for it. The jury said completely innocent, acquitted, not guilty. So
Yeah.
that means that for 1 minute, I wasn't supposed to be there. Right now, I'm only charging them by the day. Right now, I'm only charging 30,000 a day. Mind you, if I would have did only 1 day on Rikers Island with all the same facts, and I said, look, I only want 30,000, they was gonna give me that, no problem. But because they know I spent 385 days on Rikers Island, and if you do the math, that's $11.5 million. They like, oh no, that's you being ridiculous. That's you being irrational. Or you need to drop your demand. You need to stop being a pig. I was called a pig by a federal judge. I was called a pig by a federal judge. I'm the pig. Today, the judge don't even want to order the Richmond County District Attorneys to provide me my discovery, to provide me everything I need to be able to prove my case. What I got is not enough. What I got is not enough. I need everything else that's missing from my files right now. They give me 4,000 pages, and none of the stuff they gave me I can use because everything is like a puzzle. Everything has to fit together. I can't just come in there and try to explain something and then I don't have the other documents supporting it.
Yeah,
Like they said,
support.
oh, the lawyers, they wanted me to just come on the stand, right, and talk and tell the jury, oh, I went through hell on Rikers Island and this, that, and the third, and just talk about it. But to actually have video evidence of the abuse I endured on Rikers Island, isn't that better? Doesn't that support what I'm saying? Even if I go on the stand, people can say, "Oh, well, we don't really get the picture." You see these crime scenes when something happened, they like to take the jury to the crime scene to see, "Oh, this is what happened. This is how the act happened." I like for the jury to see it too. I like the jury to see while these officers, Michael Tanusis, Michael McMahon, they was at home comfortable during that year. This is what I was going through. I was placed in solitary confinement with no due process, meaning they didn't say, oh, you did something wrong and we putting you in solitary confinement. No, they said, oh, it's for your safety, this and that, and just left me there. Just forgot me there. The facility was on lockdown. I didn't even go outside. My 1 hour there, I was treated. I feel like they treat the terrorists better than the way they treated me. Than the way they treated me. They treated me less than a human being. And today, if God wasn't on my side, me and you wouldn't even be having this conversation because I don't even know how I'm able to talk to you. I feel like this is a dream. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be up north and I would have gotten convicted and it was just all a dream because it's like I can't believe this is what my life has become. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
And it's traumatic, bro, because see, when they falsely arrest you like that and pick you up, the problem is now you traumatized. So you live every day of your life thinking it's gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? You got to live with that. That's what they don't understand. They really don't care because they sitting comfortably in their office trying to screw over other people because you got through the crack.
Exactly.
That's what they do, though, bro. But never be afraid to stop and tell your story, bro, because they didn't have no right to lock you up for a year. They violated your due process. They violated your civil rights. The officers were allowed to pretty much, like you said, retire, continue on with the job. Who knows? This happened to you in 2016. It's 2024 now. They probably set up at least 10 more people in the last 10 years. That's what Staten Island do. You are not innocent on Staten Island. You guilty until you prove your innocence. They use those
And
I-cards.
even
They
when you
arrest.
prove it, you still not innocent. Even when you prove it, because you see they ignore me. They try to act like what I'm saying, try to make it look like I'm talking to myself. But they know exactly what they did. And them responding to me, what they do is they don't even respond to me, right? They will call the city law department, the lawyers that protect them, and say,
Yeah,
oh, Victor is harassing me. Victor is doing this. Victor is doing that. But no, it's not harassment. It's not
yeah.
obscene. It's not nothing. Because compared to what you did to me, the only reason why you even able to open your mouth right now is because you wasn't charged. You wasn't criminal. You wasn't turned into a criminal like what y'all tried to do to me.
Because they
So
hide behind
because
the
you,
office.
huh?
They hiding behind the office.
Yeah, but that's not their office. That office don't belong to them. They regular civilians that we hire off the street to, do a job that we can't do for ourselves right now. So we hired them. So they could be terminated, they could be changed. But it's just like Michael McMahon. I don't know if he's the Antichrist or something like that. This guy's been on since 2016. It's 2024 now. He needs to retire. He needs to resign. He needs to be held accountable. He needs to all the money, all the funds that's been paid to him from the public since 2016, ever since he was signing these documents with my name on it and framing me, all that pay that he's been receiving, he needs to refund that. He needs to refund that to the city. He needs to refund that. Let that go to these programs that, oh, we don't need a lottery to do Section 8. All the money that these officers been making over the last year, you know how many families that could have been housed, how many people that could have been taken off the street instead it's being used to support these criminals. That's exactly what's being done.
It is. I agree with you. But the only way really to stop them is for the people of Staten Island. Even actually, they even Staten Island. Anywhere where people going through situations like this, where racist prosecutors and cops are setting people up, you got to speak up about it. Because when you don't speak up about it, that's when they keep doing it. And like you see them on
Exactly.
social media, they take pictures with Muslims, they take pictures with Chinese, because he wants to. It's like propaganda. He want to convince people that he's not really what he is, which is a freaking racist. And that's the truth of the matter. That's why they go taking pictures with little kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw a picture today where they had a bunch of little kids cleaning graffiti off. But you only saw one minority kid and those kids cleaning off the graffiti. Where's the black
Yeah.
kids from Stapleton and Park Hill? Why you don't have no program where these little kids from Stapleton and Park Hill can see the benefits of working in law enforcement and maybe change the institutional racism of Staten Island? Because they don't want black people in the office. The black people they got in the office is sellouts and Uncle Toms. You know how many
Exactly.
black
Look at
people
Charles Ford. Look at Charles Ford. I remember back in 2016 when this was happening to me. Every day I seen Charles Ford, and Charles Ford used to look me directly in my eyes. He knew I wasn't no bad kid. He knew. He used to look me. I used to look at him, but I never knew that he was even an assemblyman. I never knew he worked for the
he's a
state.
piece of shit. I know that
Yes,
piece of
and he
shit
be
personally.
among us,
He's a
and then
piece of
something
shit.
happened to me, and he don't got nothing to say. Even now, even after I proved my innocence, I've reached out to this guy. He's not reached out to me. I've seen him in pictures with Michael Tanusis. I've seen him
Yeah,
in picture with Michael
yeah.
McMahon, and he don't even want to help. He don't even want to do his role, which is advocate. New York State Assembly, you're supposed to advocate for
He's
your
supposed to advocate. He's
constituents.
supposed to be your
Even
advocate and
Camilla, what's
speak
her
out
name?
for you.
Camilla Hanks. What's her
Yeah, don't
name?
get me started with her. She's a sellout too. Camilla Hanks. I
Yes,
know who
all
you
of
about.
them. Yes,
She's
all of
a sellout.
them. All of them. It's time for a change. It's time for the people who suffered, who know exactly what is going on to take command now and take charge, and don't let them think, oh yeah, because they went to their Ivy League schools and went to all these great things that because of their skin color they was afforded and we was denied, that they better than us, that they feel like they more fit to hold office. Because look what they're doing with that position. Look how they're making life so miserable for us. Making
Yo,
life
brother,
so miserable for us.
I personally know Camilla Hanks. She knew my mother. I done served in charities with her, donating stuff to the community. My ex accused me of rape and lied through her teeth. The officer Camilla Hanks told me it was too messy to get involved. They couldn't help me. I know this chick. I personally know her. I got her phone number. Charles Falls too. I know this dude. He know my ex. He on social media hugging her, taking pictures with her, knowing that she lied on me. You know what I'm saying? Like they corrupt,
Yeah,
they sellouts, bro. You can't rely on them fake Staten Island prophets, advocates, the Bobby Diggies, the True to Life. Them dudes is just looking for media. They just looking for attention. They want to work with McMahon because it makes them look prominent working with the DA. But the DA is the same person destroying your community, locking up innocent kids. They don't care about gun
exactly.
violence. They don't give a fuck about
Even
that.
look at the kids. Look at the kids. He went to Park Hill. I don't even know what parent approved that because, like you said, a few years from now, those kids is gonna be the very same kids they trying to frame. So you brought them to your office. You couldn't even drive down to Park Hill to take a picture with them in their community. You had to
Nah,
bring them and introduce them to your office because you know down the line y'all gonna be bringing them through there and trying to falsely accuse them of things they haven't done themselves. You
yeah, he ain't
smiling
going
in
into
their
the
face
community.
and doing all of this, but you know you a criminal. Like
He's not going into Park Hill with the commoners and the slaves. He's not going into Park Hill, Michael McMahon.
he's
He ain't
not.
doing that. He's
He
not doing
rather
that.
kidnap our kids and take pictures with them and try to act like he's some type of good person.
Like a savior. He ain't no savior.
He not.
But you know, brother, that's the fight that we fight, you know. So I appreciate you telling your story because we're going on about an hour. But you know,
Yeah.
you got my support. Anytime you want to come on, anything you want to do, you find other people that we can highlight the corruption going on Staten Island, we do it.
Thank you.
Because the more people who strong enough to talk about what Staten Island doing as far as the cops and the detectives and the DA, maybe we could effectuate some change. You are 100% right. Michael McMahon needs to be gone. He should not be the DA. This motherfucker been the DA longer than some little kid's been alive. How you been
Yes,
the
sir.
DA of Staten Island that long and you done set up all these innocent people? And in the community, the black activist is treating you like you really good for the community. How?
Hey,
How are you?
where you're not. You're not. You're They probably scared. They probably don't want to be targeted. They probably exactly what we saying. They probably know it, and people just scared. People don't want to have
They
to deal with
scared.
this. We
I
want to
actually
deal
been
with this.
told
I
that.
definitely don't, but I have to. I have no choice. I have
I've
no
been told that.
choice.
I've been told that by a couple of prominent black people on Staten Island. They don't want to be involved because they don't want to be targeted. I'm fucking innocent. What are you talking about?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You're supposed to help me. I'm innocent being set up by a racist prosecutor. What do you mean you don't want to be targeted? What the hell did you take the job for? You telling the community
That's
you
what I'm
want to
saying.
advocate. That's crazy.
It's it's so sad because it's like knowing what I know now, like I'm like, damn, if I would have really lost my life, it would have been, this is what it would have been going on. Like nobody talking about it,
No.
nobody questioning the narrative, nobody nothing. And I'm just so happy that God didn't make me come out and I'm able to talk. If I didn't have my voice, I would be nothing. So God made sure that was intact and I'm able to talk exactly what I endured, what I continue to endure, and that's all I'm grateful for. That's really it.
Your
That's all
truth
I'm
is your
grateful
strength.
for.
You got to keep telling it. Your truth is your strength. You got to keep telling it. Don't let them
Exactly.
intimidate you. Don't do nothing. I see how you be tagging him on Facebook. If that's what you want to do, that's your right because he violated your civil rights. The easiest thing he could do for you is offer you an apology and try to make the situation right. But he can't do that because to do that, he'd have to expose the fact that he's been setting up motherfuckers for years. And they don't want to do that. They want
Exactly.
to
They don't.
motherfuckers to stop.
And Michael Tanu says they trying to make him seem like the new Donald Trump or he's law and order and things like that. And this is why they are blackballing me because it's like they see they trying to push him. There's a certain narrative they trying to create. So it's like they've sunk all this money into his campaign. So now they don't want it to come out that yeah he violated this kid right and anything. Once they make a mention, that's why they don't. That's why they don't respond to any of my things. They rather call the law department and try to use this lawsuit against me, try to make it look like, oh yeah, I'm committing a crime. So there's case the judge can try to throw my lawsuit away. But I
Yeah.
told the judge, I'm like, this is my First Amendment right. This is why we even in a situation now because people didn't respect my rights. This is
Yeah.
why we in a situation to begin with. And now he's an elected official. It's not like I'm going on his private page or anything like that. This is his public platform that he has up for his constituents. For even if I wasn't one of his district people or whatever, this is still America. He's still part of the American system. He's still
Yes.
part of the American political system. So I could go after him. Even if I wanted to talk about a freaking governor in Tennessee, who's stopping me? He's an elected official. This is still America. No jurisdiction yet. New Jersey is over there, but it's still so because New York and New Jersey they don't follow the Constitution. No, it's only New York who feels like, oh yeah, they don't have to honor the Constitution. Look, they're locking people up for exercising their Second Amendment rights all the time. They want you to go get a license to drive, and then they say, "Oh yeah, that's a privilege." We only giving you licenses because it's a privilege. It's a privilege to drive. You have the right to travel, but you don't have the right to drive. So they give you a license, but in this case, we have a right to our Second Amendment. We have a right. That's a God-given right to defend our lives with the best tools humanity has to offer. And here it is. These people is giving innocent people 3 to 5 years, and people are too scared to stand up for their rights and going to jail and becoming criminals just for exercising their rights. That's like me speaking now, and somebody's just charging me with a crime, and because I said something, now I gotta go do 3 to 5.
You know something? No, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help you out. There is case law that does say you do have the right to villainize someone that has violated your civil rights. It's your First Amendment protection of freedom of speech. I believe the case is called Brandenburg versus Ohio. Basically, what it says is that as long as your speech is not, it doesn't imply criminal, illegal, and imminent action, you can say whatever the hell you want, and it's protected by the free speech. But a lot of times people don't know that. So what they'll do is try to take your words and manipulate them so they can bring you in court. And if you don't know your rights, they will get you. But you 100% have the right to speak against people who have violated your civil rights. You are correct in that.
Exactly. It's like what they're doing now. It's like you would see somebody getting lynched, right? And then because that person is defending himself and speaking out, oh, I don't want to get lynched. I don't want to get lynched. He's the one who's being criminalized, not the people that's doing the lynching. The
Yeah.
person that's actually being lynched is the criminal. Like, what is this? Since when America became like this?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. For black men, it's always been like this. It's always been like this. Black men, we always made the offenders, even when we the victim. They don't want black men to be victims, especially in places like Staten Island. They don't give what you a victim
No, but
where.
the only victims they want to see is us not being able to defend ourselves when
Yes.
cops raiding, shooters, no warrant knocks. They don't want none of that. That's the only victim they want us to be. A victim of police abuse of authority, a victim of injustice. That's the type of victim they want us to be. But they don't want us to be, oh, we're not victims, and like, oh yeah, we could do they do something wrong to us, and we try to say, oh, we human, we're not supposed to go through that. They don't That's not the victim they want us to be. They want us to be, dead, in prison, not even talking, not even around.
I know, brother. But we're gonna continue to fight together. So we're going on a
Yeah,
little
man.
over an hour. We're gonna have to end this now because I gotta get up
All
and go to work. But what
right.
we
Nah.
I do, man. Like they got my life so messed up with these false arrests, man. I gotta work crazy hours. I had to pay multiple lawyers to fight off the case with them. Um, I started speaking against the advocates. Now they trying to say I'm harassing the advocates because I can play recordings proving the advocates lied to me. So now I'm harassing them. Me exposing them lying is jeopardizing their job. If you didn't lie, your job wouldn't be in jeopardy. If you
Exactly.
afraid,
If you
tell
was
the damn truth.
honorable, your job
That's
wouldn't
all you
be in
gotta do.
jeopardy. That's what I'm saying. Right now, if this didn't happen to me, would I know Michael Tanusis? Would I know about Michael McMahon? Would I know about any of these individuals? No.
You'd have
So
never
it's
met him.
because you started the war. Now you blaming me because I want to finish it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. But you got to stay strong, bro. You got to hold your head. And when you speak, you just tell your truth. You tell your truth and you continue to tell your truth. Never let them intimidate you to make you think you can't talk about what they did to you. If they didn't want you to
Exactly.
talk about it, they shouldn't have did it. And if they want you to stop talking about it, they should make it right. Until they make it right, you keep talking about it. The hell what they got to say.
Exactly. Thank you.
No
Thank you.
doubt,
Thank
bro.
you for giving me the platform. Thank you.
No problem. If you need any other platform, anything else, you can holler at me. I got a great attorney now. They know because my attorney
All
contacted
right.
today.
Yeah. Send me his info. Send me his info. I'm gonna try to give him a ring sometime this week.
We talk
See
about
what
that
he's saying.
offline. We talk about that offline because quiet is kept. They watching us. I'm telling you, I know
All
they
right.
watch.
All right. All right. Thank you.
No doubt, bro. It's love. We
All
talk
right.
again
All
soon.
right. All right. Thank you.
All right. So, people, that's what you see here. Damn, I got my air conditioner on. People, it's hot as hell in here. As you see, people, I'm not the only person. Excuse me, I got to cut my AC on because that is killing me. But as you see, people, that's what's going on in here, people. Is the violation of minority men's rights. I told you I'm not the only person, and he will be a person on Staten Island is corrupt.com. We got to fix Staten Island, people. We don't even, it's not just about Staten Island, it's about corruption and misconduct in law enforcement overall. Black men should not be made offenders simply because they're victims, and racism does not allow them to be victims. That's wrong. This guy spent a year on Rikers Island. Imagine if the Staten Island District Attorney's Office had been successful in prosecuting this guy. He'd be in jail right now for a crime he didn't do. Michael McMahon would go on about his same position, being a DA. I don't know Michael Tanusis, so I can't speak against him. He hasn't done anything to me, but I have heard of him. It's unfortunate because if you are a state representative, if you are a government representative, your job is to look out for people who have been violated. Sure, you have relationships with these people. It doesn't have to get to a point where there's so much negativity, where you have people advocating so strongly against the injustice. You create advocates when you violate victims' rights and then you don't address them. People, I would never be up here talking about this if I had not falsely been arrested and set up for crimes in New York that happened in another state where I actually won. This is what created the advocate Clayton Howard. Clayton Howard was arrested for crimes where his offender was convicted in the state of New Jersey. Angry that she was convicted, she used the racist prosecutorial system of Staten Island and Michael McMahon to set me up on false arrest for crimes that they knew I was innocent of. How did they know I was innocent? People, there was a 40-page transcript literally detailing everything that happened in that trial. The Staten Island District Attorney's Office and detectives inside the 120 had this transcript within 3 weeks of me initially learning that I had been criminally charged with these charges for this woman. But you know something? They didn't care because I was a black man. So because I was a black man, I didn't deserve my constitutional protections of due process under the 14th Amendment. No, my order of protection, which was federally protected under the Domestic Violence Act, was not enforceable in Staten Island. How? How has Staten Island become bigger than the federal government? The last time I checked, it wasn't. The last time I checked, Michael McMahon wasn't the president of the United States. He's the district attorney of Staten Island. He's not even the mayor of New York City. People, he's not even the deputy mayor, people. He's nothing but a prosecutor who supervises a borough. His job is to enforce legality. His job is to do an ethical responsibility to prosecute criminals and protect victims, not set up innocent black people because he doesn't like the way a black man looks or a black man talks. People, that's wrong. But people of Staten Island, we elected Michael McMahon. We believed in him enough to re-elect him for another term. As you heard this young man just tell you, Michael McMahon has been in office since 2016. People, it's 2024. The man's been a DA of Staten Island for almost 3 decades. I mean, almost 3 terms. What the hell is this, people? This man is still allowed to stay in office, and there are thousands of prosecutions on Staten Island that happened just like Mr Abarham, where people were set up with falsified discovery, falsified information, and run down on by the warrant squad with I-cards, which are supposed to be investigative tools for the police to get more information, not to create information to charge you with a crime. People, my name is Clayton Howard, and I was horribly wronged by the Staten Island District Attorney's Office. My mission has become to expose that corruption, not to hurt Michael McMahon, because the truth of the matter is I don't want to hurt Michael McMahon. I could give 2 shits about Michael McMahon. I care nothing about Detective Joseph Kirk. I care nothing about Detective Michael LeVay. I care nothing about Detective Joseph De Palma. I don't care about these gentlemen as much as they don't care about me. The only thing I care about is the enforcement of my rights as a victim, which I 100% am, and they refuse to prosecute my offender who they know lied on me. There are federal lawsuits in place now. People, come on. Why should we have to go through all of this? We don't. So on behalf of Operation Rock and Justice, people, tonight's broadcast highlighted one of the people that I have met that have been falsely prosecuted and maliciously pursued by Staten Island for Staten Island prosecution and law enforcement violating their civil rights. People, when are we going to wake up and realize that Staten Island needs to change? When are you going to start acknowledging that Michael McMahon's attempt to take pictures in our community with Muslims and black people, Christians, and different minority sectors, excuse me for the stuttering, when are we going to realize that it's all propaganda? I don't want to compare it to the Nazi propaganda, but people, that's exactly what it is. He is trying to deceive the public at large to believe that his office is racially friendly, when the truth is it's not. It's incredibly corrupt. The hypocrisy of the Staten Island District Attorney's Office is monumental and needs to stop. So on behalf of justice, people, on behalf of Operation Rock, this was the story of Mr Abarham. Like, share, and follow, and stay tuned because we have more. Stay tuned for the launch of Staten Island is Corrupt also, where we will highlight 20 stories of false and malicious prosecutions on Staten Island. Law enforcement officials of Staten Island who are watching me know that my intent is not to embarrass you. God knows I don't want to embarrass you. I love my community. I love Staten Island. My mother was a great woman who dedicated her life to building the community of Staten Island. She knew Michael McMahon. She actually met Hillary Clinton with Michael McMahon. And Michael McMahon is such a corrupt, unethical, racist bastard that to dishonor the woman who showed him so much respect, he falsely arrested and prosecuted her son, and then refuses to grant her son the justice that he knows her son deserves. But unluckily and unfortunately for Michael McMahon, my mother was a soldier, and she damn sure raised a soldier of a son. And I'm not going to stop until you grant me the justice that you are denying me through your unethical and racist tactics of your office. You can try whatever you want to shut me up. I can guarantee you, sucker, it ain't going to work. Until Staten Island District Attorney's Office and law enforcement grant me my justice and prosecute my offender for having me falsely arrested, maliciously prosecuted, and defamated and slandered me, Clayton Howard is going to be the advocate from frickin' hell. I'm trying not to curse. I am the nightmare of the Staten Island District Attorney's Office because I'm a strong black man who is telling the truth. You lied on me. You violated me, and you're going to pay. Not pay through vengeance. You're going to pay by the fact that I'm going to use my civil rights and sue the living shit out of you. So you either pay me or you do what you have to do. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, this is Clayton signing off. Take care. God is good. Enjoy your evening. And remember, people, change starts with us. It takes a village to effectuate change, not one person. Join me in the fight. Don't join the fake politicians like the what the hell was that guy's name? The Charles Falls and the Camilla Hanks. They're sellouts, people. They care nothing about the rights of minority men. They care about how they look for the white oppressive slave master who is Michael McMahon. That's what they care about. Camilla Hanks, you are a huge disappointment to community. I had a great deal of respect for you, Camilla Hanks, and you know it. You've worked with me. You served with me. You and I have literally been in the same building serving Thanksgiving dinner, and you allowed me to be prosecuted by a woman who you knew was lying on me for rape for something I never did. You're a joke, and you will never have my respect until you grant me the apology you deserve for denying me the help that you, as my councilwoman, should have provided me. You also, Charles Falls. If my mother could look down on you, Charles Falls, she would be disgusted in the person you actually are. But it doesn't matter, people. She doesn't have to be able to see you, because I can. And until I get my civil rights, people, it's up for all of them. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, enjoy your evening, people. Spread love, not hate. This is not a